the difference between a crop frame camera and a full frame camera? And is one really better than the other? My name is Nancy. I am your TikTok teacher of photography, and I'm here to talk to you guys about it. I want to tell you guys what exactly your camera sensor is, just so you have a really full understanding of what we're talking about here. In your lens is your aperture. It is a window that opens and closes and lets the light in, right? Behind the aperture, inside of your camera, you have your shutter, and that's basically like curtains. And when you take your picture, the shutter closes and captures the image in front of you. And right behind your shutter, inside your camera, you have your sensor. Basically, your sensor takes all of that information, all of that light, and converts it into a digital image. If you have a full frame camera, that means that your sensor is full size. It's the same size as the old 35mm film cameras. This was considered the standard full size way back in the 1900s, and it is still considered the same today. I'm going to put a little sticker right here that shows if you are looking through a full frame camera, this is one view, and then the crop frame is what you would see if you were looking through a crop frame camera. So yes, this means that if you stick a 50mm lens on a full frame camera, you're going to see more in your image than if you put the 50mm lens on a crop frame camera. So if you had a 50mm lens on a Canon that was a crop frame, you take the 50 and you multiply it by 1.6. This would be 80mm. That means that a 50mm is going to perform like an 80mm lens on your crop frame camera. It's going to look more zoomed in than if you put the 50mm on a full frame camera. The other thing that the sensor highly affects is how your camera performs in low light settings. Essentially, the sensor's job is to pick up all of the light that is available and bring it into your camera and process that over into an image. So if you have a crop frame, you have a smaller sensor. That means your camera is not going to do as well in a low light situation because the sensor simply is not as large as a full frame camera, and it doesn't have the capability of picking up all the extra available light in a low light situation. I hope that's making sense so far. This means that if you are in a low light situation and you're trying to take photos, you're going to have to use a higher ISO number on a crop frame camera because you're compensating for the fact that the sensor is a little bit smaller, and so you need to increase that ISO. If you're using a full frame camera in a low light setting, your sensor is a little bit bigger, so your ISO number won't have to be as high, and your camera will still get really good images in the low light setting. This is why full frame cameras are considered better than a crop frame camera, mostly because they perform much better in a low light situation, and they produce a lot less noise or grain when you do have to increase your ISO. Having a full frame also means that your image quality is better. You will get sharper images with a full frame camera. And it is the better choice if you are a landscape photographer or an architect photographer or perhaps a real estate photographer because you get that wider angle view. However, they are more expensive than a crop frame camera. And because of this, if you are a beginner and you don't really know if you're going to be going pro and you're just taking photos for your family, a crop frame camera is a great option for you. If you are a professional photographer and you will be paid for your images and you are expected to deliver very high quality images to a plethora of clients, you would be better off to eventually invest in a full frame camera. I was specifically asked by my follower, Bree, if you had a full frame camera, would you still need a wide angle lens for real estate photography? And my answer to that is yes. Anytime I am taking a photo indoors, I do have a full frame camera. I use my 35mm lens because It is so much easier to get a picture of the inside of a bathroom with a 35mm lens, because although you have a full frame camera, if you just put the 50mm lens on there, you might not be able to get the whole room. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this answers your questions about a crop frame versus a full frame camera. Drop any other questions you have in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.